Hey guys, Patrick Johnston, Go Dominican Life. It's Monday afternoon here. We're going to do a video here. We have one microphone, so we're going to pass it around like the price is right. How about that? We're going to pass it around that way. But we thought we'd share a couple, when we speak to a client on a regular basis, we get a lot of similarities in the things that people ask for on initial contact with our group. So I thought we'll pass it around, and then we'll speak to one at a time, and we'll just have a conversation about the things we get. So let's see here. I'm going to start with the first one, okay? Sure. And then I'll pass it around. I've always said, look, when you contact us or a real estate company like us, anywhere in the world, you sort of have to have your clarity in your mind of what you're intending to do, what you want to look for, what's your sort of range of budget, etc. But that's important for us to think about. So that's sort of one. Begin with the end in mind. What are you trying to achieve? What's your timeline? What's your budget? And what's your thoughts, etc. Let's go over to Riley.
So just to build off what he just said, when you come here looking for an end, when you are coming here to look for a place that you want to buy, whether it's a condo or a villa, the most important thing is to realize that we are in a different country. We are not in Canada, we're not in the United States, we're not in Europe. So when you come here, you really need to come with an open mind and realize that, hey, I'm not in the United States, but this is a country that I love. Let me explore the culture and find a place that I love that's Dominican style, if that makes sense. Because, for example, houses here are made out of concrete, not wood or construction, all that stuff. It's completely different. So you have to come with an open mind and really realize that you are in a different country and it's not going to be the exact same to where you were before. But that's our second point. So now I'm going to pass it over to Jim.
Some great points, Riley. The biggest thing, too, is once you're here and you know that this is the place that you want to either build a vacation home or possibly a second residence or a permanent home, the biggest thing is finding the right team to work with and the people that are going to look out for your best interests and know the area and going to guide you to achieving your end goal. And that's one of the things that we're all here for. If not, we'll definitely get you the right person on the team. But it's very important to find that right team to work with.
Okay, so that's point number 3, right?
Yeah.
Point number 3. Point number 4 I will make is that decide up front if this is going to be an emotional purchase or a non-emotional purchase. And what I mean by that is an emotional purchase is the dream home. The dream home with anything in it, villa, condo, etc. But if your objective is to have a combination of emotional and non-emotional, that would be something like, okay, well, I want to buy something that fits my dream, but has to have the ability to make money through Airbnb and help pay for the cost when I'm not there. Or me, or any other investor type, is that we look at purely as opportunity. We don't fall in love with the actual building. In fact, the dirtier, the uglier, the more disarray in a structure is better for me as an investor. So an unemotional, non-emotional decision or emotional decision is another one. How about you? Number 5.
Again, speaking to that, what my dad just said, pre-construction or pre-existing, those are our 2 options that we really drive towards. So it really depends on how long you can wait before you are living your dream life here at the beach, or you buy pre-existing. So the benefits of pre-construction is that you will be getting it at a cheaper price. So let's say right now we're currently offering $160,000, I'm pretty sure, for Bliss and Sky Suites for investors that invest, and then in about 2 to 3 years, you'll have a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom villa worth $300,000. So that 150 automatically 3 years turns into an extra 150,000, and then that way you can choose whether to sell or to keep or do whatever you would like with it. Live in it, all these things. Pre-existing, on the other hand, you buy it flat out, it's yours the day of, and there's no problems. You can move in right away, rent it out right away, whatever you want to do with it, renovate it right away. There's so many different things. So those are our 2 options. It really is personal preference, whether you have the time to move to the Dominican, or let's say you plan to move in 2 to 3 years, pre-construction may be the benefit for you. So, it's all about finding that what you like and what's going to work out in your schedule. So, on to the 6th.
Yeah, Riley covered a couple of the points that I wanted to talk about. So there's 2 of them in that. the use of the property. So if you're going to come here and live, or you're going to rent it out Airbnb, if you're looking at pre-existing, you can start to use that right away to start garnishing some income from it. And a lot of times with the pre-existing homes that you purchase, they're already furnished. Now, it could be great furnishings that you really love and it works for you, or it might be something you're going to change out. But have that in mind. Typically, the homes here are sold furnished, so it's less cost out of your pocket. The other thing is the timeline. So Riley spoke about the pre-existing or construction. With construction, you always have to build in that timeline of what to expect when they're building. So that's definitely some questions you want to ask while you're here, or before you get here, to keep a realistic mindset of what you want to accomplish.
Okay, another common question we get when people are asking as they first enter our ecosystem is, what is the cost of a per square meter for construction? Whether, most of us in North America think about per square foot, regardless if you're Canadian or American, but everything here is on a per meter basis. And so my typical answer is, that depends. So what are you looking to do? Because obviously there's different quality of construction. Taking away the land, because the land is the most varied, but the construction materials will vary by way of what you're looking to do. So for example, if you're building a concrete box, you have 4 walls and a roof, all concrete. If you're building a concrete walls and a base with a wood roof and a canna, which is the tropical style look, that'll have a different cost. And then if you go with basic finishings or locally produced finishings, such as tile or tile work, what else am I going to say? Basic styles of kitchens. But if you want strictly North American or European style products as your finishings, Moen as your taps, high-end sub-zero freezers and fridges, a European style kitchen, then your per meter price goes up. So I say to anybody, it depends. $850 a meter on the low end, low, all the way up to $2,000 to $3,000 a meter. Because we have seen properties, as you know, Riley, play about Punta Bonita, those properties in Punta Bonita.
Insane.
I've been in real estate for almost 30 years, and there's things there I had not seen before. And Riley was seeing it for the first time like this is normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it was just absolutely stunning. So the per meter construction cost will always be about the details, and there isn't an average, here's the meter times how many meters in total. It all varies that way. Okay, so over to you, Riley.
So let's say that you decide to end up buying pre-construction, pre-existing, it's built, you're living there. The next step is buying a vehicle. So the options that are very common and cost-effective around Las Terrenas are four-wheelers, you've got scooters / motorcycles, you've got golf carts, you've got tuk-tuks, you've got little trucks, you've got everything you could possibly imagine. There's so many options here. And what we personally recommend, or what I would personally recommend, is I am currently driving a four-wheeler. It's perfect for getting around town, but for the longer distances, say you wanted to go to Santo Domingo, Samaná, Puerto Plata, you would need a vehicle there, unless you're taking our buses or our cars, taxi drivers, all those things. So I would recommend having something for in town and something for going out of town if that's something that you plan on doing. So I'll pass it over to Jim now, who can talk about buses and taxis and all that stuff.
So a lot of the different forms of transportation here, you have a bus system that typically runs. So if you do not have a car and you don't want to be able to travel that distance, we have buses from Las Terrenas, but are also all different parts of the country that'll go, and it's really reasonable. To take a bus from here to Santo Domingo, which is about a 2.5-hour drive, is about 500 pesos per person. So very inexpensive to get around the country if you choose to do so via bus. The other form is what you'll hear is called a motoconche. That's more for a local in town. They range anywhere from 100 to maybe 200 pesos depending on where you want to go, but also very inexpensive. So definitely some options if you don't want to purchase a car, or a pasola if you like to walk. I see a lot of people that live here that walk every day, and then they'll grab a motoconche and get to where they need to go.
Okay, the next option, or next common question, number 8, 9, or 10, whatever we're on now, is how do I finance properties in the Dominican Republic for my purchase? So, clear answer and simple answer is do not rely on any form of financing from any banks here in the Dominican Republic. Now, you could do it once you own it and then go through the process and get some of the money back. But generally speaking, in the last 5 years of operations in the DR as our companies, we've had 2 transactions on anyone that has achieved financing. Both items were private financing, not Dominican bank financing. One of the 2 went through almost 5 months with a 900 plus credit score and still didn't get an answer, and we're getting so close to closing that they did a private mortgage instead of bank financing. So it's very different financing here. The mortgage market is very immature compared to Canada, the United States. There isn't a mortgage broker. You have to deal directly with the bank. You're dealing with language, you're dealing with culture, you're dealing with different forms, different time frames. They go through looking at you first as a person, and then they look at the asset. And the asset, just because it's built and ready to go, doesn't mean that asset will be qualified within the banks. The other thing is that banks here, they always they'll go up to 70%. Again, anyone I spoke to, from the retail value to the real mortgage end value, 40%, 50% if you're lucky. Amortization schedules in Canada, when you're used to maybe a 25 or a 30-year loan, here it's maximum 15, and every 3 years it'll adjust to the current interest levels. The U.S. market, you got to have a 30-year fixed, but that doesn't exist here. So again, most buyers here are 45 to 65 years old, in that range as an average. So most are refinancing an existing asset in the U.S. or Canada, buying through a secured line of credit against an asset, or purely have the money in the bank ready to go. And that's the recommended way to do it. It also gives stability here in the market because they're, from a foreclosure perspective or repossessions and things like that, they really don't exist in that much volume because most properties are purchased in pure cash money. So financing is it's easiest to think about in advance. There is some short-term developer financing with a payment schedule, or a rare developer will offer 3 or 5 year terms on financing, and sometimes that's only available in like class B or C in terms of distance away from things that they're not having the immediate ability to sell normally. You may see something like that. Lastly, in the rare case, there may be some owner financing, limited, and that would be still the same, at least 50-60% down, and terms over 1 to 3 years max, and that's what you're dealing with. So over to the next point, Riley.
Yep.
Next thing the normal people inquire about.
So another thing is that I deal with on the daily basis, as well as Patrick, as well as Jim, is having things from home that we cannot get here. So going into that, there is a delivery service here called CPS. So all the things that you could imagine that you miss from home, whether it's coffees, specific snacks that you can't get here, all of that stuff can be ordered through Amazon and then shipped into Miami, and then from Miami to here. So CPS, they do, I think it's £5 or $5 per pound that gets delivered. So say you have a 10 pound thing coming in, and it's $5 per pound, it's $50, but you do get those snacks that you can't get from home, or those clothes, or any of those things. So CPS is very useful, especially if you're moving here and planning to be here a lot of the year, because you can't have those consistently. But with CPS, it makes it accessible for everybody all over the island. So I definitely would recommend that 100%.
Number 12, 13, 11.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
Commonly asked questions when
Yeah.
we first speak to you.
another one is, a lot of people ask if they're coming down here as a secondary home or to move entirely, is how do I set up a bank account? Also, can I get insurance there, medical insurance? Yes, you can. I purchased medical insurance here, so I'm from the United States. I had to pay a limited amount through my paycheck. My employer also had paid, but I can tell you it's going to vary based on your age. But even with what I pay right now, currently, it's very reasonable. I think it works out to about $60 a month that I pay, and it's really good coverage. For vehicles, very, very inexpensive as well. I have a newer vehicle, and I think I pay about $70 a month for extra full coverage. So great pricing compared to what we're used to. And the other thing is banking. I tell you, they give you really good rates on CDs and on your account if it's a peso account. I want to say those rates, last time I checked, are anywhere from like 9 to 12% return
If you
in
invest,
pesos. Yeah, if you invest money on CDs. So really good options versus back home. You might get a 6% CD versus a 12% here. So, and setting up bank accounts, it seems a little bit harder than back home, but it's not really, as long as you get all the paperwork that you need prior to moving here. You come in and they get you all taken care of.
Okay, the next thing talking about is everybody asks about cost of operation of a home, and that always will vary for many reasons, condo or villa. But I'm going to give you two examples of how you can reduce some of your cost of operation. In a villa or in a condo, mostly villas though, you always have to prepare for electrical outages for any reason whatsoever. So some people do inverter systems, battery-operated inverter systems, to get you 4 to 8 hours of, your fans and your basic lights and maybe your fridge, for example. That's wise. We have those in our offices as well, so we have some basic time. Larger residential communities will have a diesel generator as a backup for the same type of thing that I talked about. But another one that's getting more and more popular and less expensive as the years go on is solar. So solar could run between $10,000 and $20,000 US to get, depending on how much coverage you want on solar. But say Margarita, her house, she just did a full solar, so she's fully off the grid, or can be fully off the grid, and she runs around her power bill, electricity bill used to be $400 to $600 a month, and now she's off grid. So she gets her bills like I think it was 12 pesos last month, like stupid, 12 pesos, which is like 10 or 15 cents. Now, if you look at the ROI on that, let's just make it 500. 500 times 12 is 6,000. So she'll have about a 3-year return on her money. But for an aspect of, if you're looking for an ROI as a investor type, and you're going to rent it out, you're still going to charge them for electricity per day on a daily rate, even though you're getting the sun for free. So then it can be doubling up your ROI from, say, 3 years down to a year and a half as a payback, because you're having nightly revenue for electricity. So solar panels can't be discounted, but there's solar panels, inverters for batteries, inverters, and diesel generator. That's a common question we get is, how do I save money? What's the common cost of running a home? Electricity is your number one cost that you can control if you spend a little money and invest.
So going on to our next point, I'm going to talk about people's budgets and kind of our typical range of when people inquire and kind of what we recommend opening up to, as well as maybe going down to as well. So typically when we have people inquire about a property, it's in the range of 200 to 250 and give or take around there. So what we recommend is 200 to 250 can be it's still a great budget, but you can have limited options. Correct. So what we like to recommend is that maybe going, let's say 275. But with that 275, if you go up, everything in the Dominican Republic is negotiable. And when I say everything, I mean this beer, I mean this water, I mean this handshake, everything is negotiable. So when you go up, you have to keep in mind that you can always go down from where the price is at, because there's always going to be time to negotiate, as well as going down. Let's say you go for a 185 2-bedroom condo. If it's 185, negotiate it down. And then maybe there's something that's even cheaper that you like more. There's many options to keep your budget open. So I highly recommend that, because otherwise you're just limiting yourself to seeing all the beautiful places in this beautiful country. So that's what I recommend.
Over to you. Number 80, 18, 19, 20.
Yeah. So before I get into my next topic, if you guys stay tuned after this, you're going to see Riley negotiate our bill.
Yeah.
Everything's negotiable, so
He said it,
stay
so
tuned.
I'm gonna hide behind him.
Yeah. Buy one, get one free? All right.
Yeah.
So the next
Love
one
it.
is pet care. So a lot of people, I've noticed, especially since I moved to Los Terrenos versus some other towns, and maybe it's just because I'm more aware being here, you see a lot of people come down with their dogs and cats. Here, alligators, everything. So emotional support alligators, right. So the cool thing that I've noticed here in Los Terrenos, there's a lot of options that you can use. And we're going to do a video later, but there's another place that just opened up called Wolf, and they have really high-end pet care products for different foods, grain-free, where typically you can find a lot of things like the Purina 1 here, but they also have some different high-end grain-free diets. They also do different things like grooming. They sell some small items that you need, beds, crates, but there's also a couple of veterinarians in town as well. So definitely a great place to bring your animal. They'll love it. My mom brought down a Great Dane, and then she acquired a French Bulldog while she was here. So she has two different spectrums. So.
And the Great Dane flew first class, by the way.
Flew first class.
First class cabin because
Yes.
it too big to go in the belly.
Yeah.
So Mummy was in the.
I think she
was
actually
in coach.
moved up to first class
she
with her.
did?
Yeah. So she did make it up there. So I don't know how comfortable it was with the Great Dane sitting next to her, but we'll have to find out.
Okay, last point we're going to make because we can go on. We'll have a part 2 of this too. Is internet. Everyone says, well, I want to work from home. What's the stability of the internet? Because now we talked about electricity. Look, there's many different providers of internet. You have distributors, you have the directs, and then you have the global version. So the direct version would be Claro, which is like a Bell Canada, Bell USA, that kind of thing. There's a competitor to that called Altice, which is, again, a land product cellular base company with fiber optic internet. They're always available. They're Dominican based, and I always find they're great to have, and then not so great on the service level if you need technical support or something. Second option are distributors. They buy data on one of those two services, and then the resellers of high-speed internet. A little bit cheaper, terrible generally on customer service. The best one for me that I found in the last couple of years that's come here is Starlink.
Yeah.
Good old Elon Musk. Because that equipment never really fails. It goes down. Sometimes you get a bit of fluffering, as I call it. Fluttering. Fluffering. Buffering when it comes to heavy rain days. But again, when it's heavy rain days, it's like a snow day. You're not really working. And it's only a few minutes. Other than that, the speed is good. The content and the upload-download speeds are good. And that helps when you work from home. You can get a big version. You can get the mini version, so you can work right here at the beach. So there's a lot of things you can do. But, I think we've covered a lot. We got probably got about a few more points to do, but we're going to do a part 2 on this, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so without further ado, Jimmy and Riley both are in sales in our company, and they also are the first point of contact when you inquire digitally. You know how to reach out to us at 829-525-1782 on WhatsApp.
Don't forget to subscribe.
6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Saturday. Sunday we're generally here at the beach. Lastly, we're at Pura Vida, which is just outside of Las Terrenos near Portillo.
Gorgeous.
It's a gorgeous little beach bar. We'll link down in the link below the video for Pura Vida as well, so check it out when you're here. Any last words?
I think you covered everything, but yeah, guys, don't hesitate to reach out as we're here to help you find your dream home in this beautiful country.
Okay. Adios.